Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my week 3 review. Weirdest thing. I should have uploaded this yesterday, which was Tuesday. It's now Wednesday. I must have completely had a dream that I uploaded this video and got it out. Because I was just like looking through my channel, trying to think of something I could upload. I was like, maybe I should just do my predictions now, stop being lazy. And I was like, wait, where the hell is my week 3 review? And I have the whole thing set up. And I swear, like, every page I looked at, I was like, I remember talking about this. I remember talking about this. And I guess I just never did it. It's super, super weird. But we're here now, getting this video out finally. With that being said, a like and subscribe would help. A comment always helps. Let's get straight into this thing. Colorado at Houston. Houston actually looks kind of scary right now. I wouldn't say scary, but they look sneaky right now. But Colorado is also a dumpster fire. They don't have a quarterback. I'm glad I picked Houston to win this one. And a lot of people said Colorado was going to be a team that was going to be one of the better teams in the Big 12. They were even receiving votes to be ranked at the start of this year. Just confusing. I mean, just really confusing. You know, you lose Travis Hunter and Shedeur. You have to replace that talent, which was a huge amount of talent. You also lose plenty of other players that were key components to the team, and you just expect them to replace this. And let's not act like Colorado was super good. They got destroyed by BYU and ended up finishing off, I think, 4 losses. They were nothing crazy in the Big 12. Thank goodness they didn't make it into the Big 12 championship with that long tie between all the teams and whatnot. Because yeah, that would have been awful to watch Colorado just get absolutely trampled. I mean, they lost in week 1 in a respectable close game against Georgia Tech, but Georgia Tech decided to say, hey, let me turn the ball over a bunch. And that's exactly what they did. But Georgia Tech still managed to come back and win this game. Colorado got a week 2 domination over Delaware. Congrats. Then they beat Houston. This was a conference game, I believe. I would assume so. Yes, it was a conference game. Not sure why it was moved up here, but it was. Because next week, Colorado goes and plays Wyoming, Wyoming played Utah very, very tough for all game before they let it slip away and stuff got out of control. If Wyoming beats Colorado, that is not a good look for Colorado football whatsoever. Then after that, it turns into the hell schedule. They play BYU at TCU, Iowa State at Utah, U of A at West Virginia, ASU at Kansas State. I say there's like 2 or 3 games they can win there if things go their way entirely. Houston, on the other hand, actually looked pretty good. You know, Colorado was going to score some points, and it was a little weird how they scored some of their points. One of them was like a fumble in the end zone that was picked up. But the important thing was that they really just shut Colorado down for pretty much the entire third quarter and most of the fourth quarter and just took home an easy victory. Connor Wayman, who a lot of people say, and honestly, he didn't look good at Texas A&M last year. A lot of people were like, this is not the quarterback. This is not the answer. He's actually looked pretty good, you know. 15 for 24, 222 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but he was running the ball very efficiently at 17 carries, 83 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the floor, one of which was a 49-yard run. He was getting it done. He was torching them up. Definitely a good look for Houston. Like really good look for Houston. They committed no turnovers. They played very good football, limited the penalties. That's how you want your team to look right now, which a lot of fan bases are struggling with because their teams don't look like that. Houston looks, maybe not in terms of the talent and whatnot, but in terms of like the discipline and the perfect football being played. That's how other fan bases want their team to look. Houston has got it rolling right now. And they could pick up some momentum. You know, they play 0-3 Oregon State next week at Oregon State. You lose that, goodbye momentum. After that, they get to host Texas Tech. That could be a really interesting game, especially with the outcome of this Texas Tech-Utah game. This could be a really, really interesting game. You know, Houston could take a lot of momentum going into this. They could start off 5-0. if they are as good as they were. And then, of course, after that, they play Oklahoma State. So it's like, then they could be 6-0. That would be really, really cool to see Houston do that, because these teams, these group of 5 teams like Cincinnati, Houston, and whatnot that have joined these conferences haven't really been anything. UCF as well haven't really been anything in the Big 12. BYU in their first year here actually did fairly well. Or no, I think in their second year they did really well. Their first year they didn't really do too good. Maybe I'm remembering incorrectly, but Houston has got something cooking. Colorado doesn't. Kansas State at Arizona. Kansas State is a dumpster fire. I said Arizona State. Disgusting. I can't believe I would even say that right now looking at that logo. Arizona, it's because I don't even want to talk about this shit at school. I want to talk about ASU, the real Arizona team, the real team of Arizona. Anyways, Kansas State at Arizona. I figured Arizona was going to win this game. You know, they're starting off 3-0 after how pathetic their season was last year. They're looking for any momentum, and they got it. Now, Kansas State, obviously, 1-2 entering this game, and they should have honestly lost to North Dakota as well and be 0-3. The only game they looked really good in was against Iowa State. They were actually playing pretty competitive football. Now, Iowa State only really let up points off of blown coverages and mistakes, you know, that allowed Kansas State to score quick points. But it didn't really look like Kansas State was going to be that bad of a football team. But my God, guys, this is 17 points with a blocked punt, putting them in very close field goal range or touchdown range. They also had a 75-yard run that right out of the gates of the second half that gave them another 7 points. And they just couldn't do anything from that point on. Avery Johnson is not the quarterback of the future. I've been saying this, and I'm glad that I wasn't wrong, because, my God, 13 for 29, 88 yards. Dude cannot throw the ball. He just can't. 7 carries for negative 16 yards and a touchdown, but 7 carries for negative 16 yards. That is including sacks. So on ESPN here, it does it differently with the NFL. It actually tells you how many sack yards they got and how many sacks they took, and then it just tells you how many yards they ran for in like forward progress. So this one, it just kind of merges the two. So I'm sure there were some forward runs, but ultimately just the sacks were making him move backwards. They've got one receiver. That is Jace Brown. 6 receptions, 68 yards. Remember, Avery Johnson threw for 88 yards. This guy has 6 catches and 68 yards. He was the leading receiver by far and all of the offensive production. Kansas State was not good in this football game. U of A even had 2 turnovers. Look, Kansas State was 0 for 4 on 4th down efficiency, and they fumbled the ball once. U of A was 1 for 2 on 4th down efficiency, and they turned the ball over twice, 1 fumble, 1 pick. U of A had 412 yards of offense. Kansas State had 193, and they had more yards on the floor than they did over the air. My God, Kansas State also has no run defense. U of A was just running the ball all over the place. Don't get too hyped about U of A, all right? They're not horrible. They might be like a middle-of-the-pack team, 6-6, 7-5, something like that. Kansas State is just awful. I don't know what has happened to them, because even I didn't say Big 12 championship. That was too much for me. But even I was not expecting Kansas State to be this bad. And it's the second year in a row that the team playing in another country that loses has just collapsed. Now, the difference with Florida State was they had DJ Uiagalelei, who is just god-awful. Avery Johnson was the quarterback last year, and the team wasn't awful. They weren't awful by any means. Now they are awful. It's very weird. It's like a curse over there. If you lose in the other country, in Ireland, you will be a horrible football team entering the year. It's kind of wild. Clemson at Georgia Tech. Happy I predicted the upset here. All of a sudden, there is so many questions flying around. Clemson has exited the top 25 after starting off at number 4, and so many people had so much faith in this team, and it's like, where did the talent go? Clemson returned the most amount of production from last year, guys. That was a college football playoff team that gave Texas a hard time. They beat SMU to get in. This was a college football playoff team, all right? And on top of that, they bulk up their wide receiver room. They looked like they were going to be a super good team. There's really no answer why this Clemson team has come out and been so bad. I mean, granted, the two teams they've lost to are LSU and Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech is a pretty good football team, but I don't think, they're going to be like supernaturally good, like number 3 LSU. I'm starting to look at LSU now. I'm starting to look at LSU and say, are you really number 3, or are we making a big oopsie right now? Because after all, LSU they have not looked pretty by any means. All right. Let's be real. Florida is 1-2. Florida has a really good defense, but their offense is butthole. All right. Their offense is butthole. LSU's barely beating Louisiana Tech 27-3. Not an impressive performance. LSU should have beaten Clemson by more, but it's like you look at all 3 of their wins and they're number 3, and it's like they haven't actually played anybody. Now that Clemson is out of the top 25, same with Florida, it's starting to look bad for LSU and for Clemson. LSU has to go on the road against Ole Miss. Ole Miss, barely beat Arkansas last week. They barely beat Kentucky. Ole Miss could very well lose this game. South Carolina got trampled by Vanderbilt. We will get to that one later. But LSU has to go on the road to Vanderbilt. Guys, is this Vanderbilt's year? I'm sorry. I'm starting to freak out. But it really looks like a lot of the teams that were ranked in the top of the SEC are actually not the teams that should be up there. It looks like right now Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, maybe even Auburn, Oklahoma, even Tennessee and Texas have lost and have not looked pretty. I mean, Tennessee and Georgia, those definitely look like 2 solid teams. We'll get to the Tennessee game later and Georgia. But for now, let's continue back on track with this game. Let's do a little review like the video is supposed to be. But Clemson at Georgia Tech, this game was it was competitive. Clemson was in front. Not at the start. Georgia Tech got up to I have it reversed in my mind. Georgia Tech was pretty much up entirely in this game. I thought Clemson was up 21-13. No. Georgia Tech got up 13-0, and then Clemson scored a touchdown going into halftime. They scored a touchdown out of the gates of the second half. Sorry if you heard that Snapchat notification. They just have to send you the stupidest garbage. I turned into a snake there for a second. They just have to give you the stupidest dog shit notifications all the time, and it's just so damn annoying. But they had a 73-yard touchdown pass that put them in front. Georgia Tech worked their way down the field. Clemson managed to go down the field and score, and then, of course, Georgia Tech kicked a game-winning field goal. Clemson couldn't stop the run at the end of the game there. They couldn't stop the run. Clemson had overall more yards of offense, but, cap it off with an interception, you will lose the game. When you're only up by 30 yards of offense, Clemson had 381, Georgia Tech had 358. If you throw that interception and Georgia Tech doesn't make any turnovers that aren't on downs, you will lose that football game. And Georgia Tech takes a good W here. Puts themselves in front. Now up there for a competition of the ACC, but realistically, this is Miami's conference. Maybe actually Florida State. I forgot about Florida State. But as of right now, Miami looks like this one is under their control. And, dude, 10-4, October 4th, Miami at Florida State. Get your popcorn. My God, that looks like a damn good matchup now. But, good for them. Oklahoma at Temple. I really thought Temple was going to compete in this game, but this only actually raises Oklahoma, in my opinion. Even though, Temple's probably not going to be that good of a football team. If you watch my prediction video, you'll know what I said, how this game will go. But Oklahoma came in here and did nothing short of dominate. They look so elite right now. They look like old Oklahoma. It's actually crazy. Oklahoma, the Big 12, complete dominance over the conference. They look like they could be at the top of the conference now. Oklahoma looks spectacular. And is there really much standing in the way of Oklahoma right now? I think LSU might actually be a little sneaky beaky overrated. Auburn could be interesting. Jackson Arnold going up against his former team. He could rip off 500 rushing yards. But in terms of his passing game, it's not too pretty. After that, you got Kent State. Why not just throw in fucking Kent State in the middle of the schedule? Sure. But then you got the Red River rivalry, which I always have a hard time saying. And Texas does not look good. Arch Manning's getting booed. They lost to Ohio State. Arch Manning is just completely dragging this team down. If they can't get anything moving offensively, Oklahoma will, and Oklahoma will win that game. After that, at South Carolina, South Carolina's collapsing. After that, host Ole Miss. If Ole Miss remains at number 13, which I think is way too high of a spot for them, if they remain at number 13 and keep on winning games, it'll be interesting. But after all, it is at Oklahoma. Then at Tennessee, that's going to be a super interesting game. After that, at Alabama, I say that's a winnable game. Host Missouri and then host LSU. That's the big one. That's the big one with a capital B. And you want to know something crazy about this schedule? After all the years of shoving LSU, Texas A&M down our throat, they're not playing each other this year. They're not playing each other. Isn't that crazy how Texas comes in and now they just prioritize Texas A&M and Texas, which I understand is a much bigger rivalry than LSU Texas A&M. Wait. Oh my God, I'm sorry. That is not true. I completely just tricked myself. I am looking at Oklahoma's schedule, not LSU. LSU lives in my head rent-free apparently right now with how much I'm going to talk about them. That is not true. I'm sure LSU and Texas A&M still play. Okay, they do. I was like, why would they take that rivalry away? After how much they made us watch that rivalry, why are they just going to take it away? This is Oklahoma's schedule, not LSU. I am tripping ballsack. But whatever. Oklahoma does have a juggernaut ahead of them, but it's a juggernaut in which they can win because a lot of the teams here are overrated. The Ole Miss and the Tennessee matchup, those will be the interesting one. But Oklahoma seriously could be on top of their conference. That will be super interesting. Wisconsin at Alabama. Needeth we speaketh moreth. Wisconsin got trampled. Nothing much to it. This is a part of my dream. Was this part of the prediction video and I'm just a retard? Was that the case here? Or am I just like a psychopath? I swear I remember saying I fucked this up and I messed this up. And this is not, I must have said it in the prediction video. Like, I must be tripping balls. But whatever. Wisconsin at Alabama. I said South Alabama was going to be competitive more than Auburn would like, but instead it was kind of the same, but just on a lower scale. Auburn handled business. Nothing much to that. Georgia at Tennessee. Oh my God. That kicker needs to have security galore outside of his dorm or wherever he is living. He needs to be like on complete and utter lockdown. How do you miss that field goal? This looked exactly like how the Alabama-Tennessee game went, man. Some of the big explosive touchdown plays they had looked exactly like Alabama-Tennessee. If I could find this goddamn game on my phone. There it is. I don't understand how you missed that field goal. And their kicker, man, he looks like he's 12. Like, we've got a 12-year-old trying to kick a game winner, and oh my Lanta. It was not even close. Listen, it's a 43-yard field goal. By college standards, that's a little far, but nothing crazy. And oh my goodness, he missed it so bad. And then, Tennessee just lost it in overtime. That's all there is to it. Georgia snuck this one out of their booty. Tennessee should have won this game. This is why you don't gamble, because this shit happens, bro. Like, when you think you have the game all wrapped up and ready to go home, your kicker fucking blows it. Oh, my God. Just heartbreak for Tennessee in a game they should be winning. And Tennessee could be one of the teams on top of their conference. They are still one of the teams on top of their conference in terms of how they played here. But Georgia, that's what Kirby Smart said at the start. There's a lot of naysayers out there for Gunnar Stockton. This Georgia offense kind of balled out. Now, Syracuse put down quite a bit of points on Tennessee, and Syracuse does not look good right now. So maybe Tennessee's defense is not super spectacular, or Syracuse is just a mainly offensive team and managed to work some points down on Tennessee. And they do have a good defense, but Georgia's offense is also really good. Is that the scenario here? Because, 44 points, whether it's in overtime or not, you're still going 38-38. That's a very high-scoring game, and they were constantly responding. There was a time period where I thought Georgia was going to take this football game away. Tennessee scored 21 points in the first quarter. It looked like they were just going to dominate. But then they just ripped off a bunch of points unanswered. They got up 27-21. Then Tennessee got in front. And then from that point on, it was kind of just back and forth. They got down by a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. It's like, oh, crap. Now they might lose this thing. But then they respond and score a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. And then, of course, Tennessee had the game wrapped up, but they missed a field goal, and they managed to pull out the win. So guess what? A win is a win for Georgia. This should not hurt them. This is a good win. Honestly, people have been doing this too much. Tennessee will get more praise for this one because they missed off of a field goal than Georgia will. Georgia will be looked at in this game as overrated, should have lost to Tennessee, yada, yada, yada. Georgia gets all the glory here from me because they won this football game. Even if they lose this football game, this was super competitive and close. But overall, they impressed me. They proved me wrong. They proved my doubts wrong. And they actually came out here into Rocky Top, and no matter how they won the game, they won the game. And they are a damn good football team. Same with Tennessee, though. Two of these teams that they very well could be rematching in the SEC championship if they play their cards right. Pitt at West Virginia. Wow. Just completely and utterly wow. Pitt is another level of bad. All right, West Virginia just lost. They just lost to Miami, Ohio, if I could find this game. I think Ohio just went to go play Ohio State and got clobbered. Yeah, they did. And they beat West Virginia in a game where the final score was 10-17, where the last points scored were a field goal kicked with 12 minutes and 31 seconds in the third quarter. That was it. West Virginia was not a good football team. And for a long time, West Virginia was up in this one. They were up 14-3. In the third quarter before Pitt finally just started to rip off points. They got up 24-14. I was like, all right, they're taking this one away. But then they let freaking West Virginia score a touchdown with 11 seconds left to tie this thing up. And then they scored a touchdown in overtime. Literally looked like how the fucking ASU Texas game should have been in terms of the overtime. And then they actually got the stop on fourth down, and Pitt takes the L. Pitt is not a good football team. That's all there is to it. USF at Miami. Wow. This, to me, just makes Florida look super bad. Because USF, listen, they beat a Boise State team really bad. That Boise State team is probably not going to come near the top 25 for the rest of the season. But then they hit the road and they beat Florida in a monumental upset. And then they just get dicked down by Miami. For USF's defense looking as good as it was, oh my God. What happened? USF couldn't really score any points, until the fourth quarter where they finally scored a touchdown. Miami's offense couldn't be stopped, and Miami's defense was shutting them down. They dropped 576 yards on USF, and they had 2 turnovers. They also had 69 yards of penalties. Miami was by all means not playing perfect football in terms of the mistakes of interceptions and penalties. They still dropped 600 yards. Miami's another breed right now of football. It's kind of crazy. A lot of people were saying that Miami was going to be the overrated team, myself included. And once I realized how much people were not giving this team faith, it was giving them underdog mentality, which is the worst thing you can give a college football team. Once you give them underdog mentality, that's when they just go out and play like hell. Arkansas, Ole Miss. I thought this one was going to be kind of close, and it ended up being pretty close. Very high scoring. Arkansas actually just looks like kind of a good football team right now. Underrated. Underrated for sure. And they honestly had opportunities to win this game, And Ole Miss just won it, big fought game. They started off with a missed field goal for Arkansas, and later in the game they had another missed field goal, which definitely that's the difference in the game right there. But they had the ball on the Ole Miss 27 before they fumbled the ball and just lost the game. That's all there was to it. They just lost the game on a fumble pretty much. And Arkansas takes a heartbreaking loss, but Ole Miss gets a very needed W. Florida at LSU. Yeah, I'm really starting to get implications that LSU is overrated. Brian Kelly crashed out about a reporter talking about their offense, which is like, why you mad, bro? Your offense does look like shit. God damn it, bro. I heard it on an interview. I had a commenter say how it is pronounced, and I literally cannot remember how this motherfucker's name is pronounced. I think it's Garrett Nussmeier. I think that's all there is to it. Garrett Nussmeier, because I was saying like Nussmeier. Garrett Nussmeier. Number one Heisman, if you're not retarded and you didn't say Arch Manning. Like, if you're not just stupidly brain dead and you didn't say Arch Manning at the start of the year, which I don't know why anybody was saying he was going to win the Heisman, bro. Like, Arch Manning has potential. That is for sure. But, oh my God, he barely played any snaps. And we're just expecting him to be the Heisman? Like, what? It doesn't make sense, bro. But this guy should have had the Heisman implications. Absolutely. Great player last year. You expect that offense and that team to carry over as much as they can this year. And so far, they're number 3 and undefeated. Their defense looks absolutely just plays like hell. But when it comes down to the offense, now Florida also has a good defense, but when it comes down to the offense, man, they're not scoring. They're just not scoring. Like, you're winning 20-10 here. Like, nice. Florida had 5 turnovers, 5 interceptions. Like, it doesn't get much easier than that, and you're only winning by 10 points. Like, I don't know, man. I just get really bad vibes right now that Clemson and LSU were so highly ranked and had so much hype. And maybe they're both just really bad, and it's going to be really embarrassing when LSU's ranked at number 3 and they just don't finish anywhere near there. Or Louisiana Tech is a fucking great team. Clemson turns their shit around, and Florida turns their shit around. Or all it is that this team just finds their offensive power, and they just start to torch teams. But, really, man, Florida should have won this game. You had 37 minutes of possession compared to LSU's 22, with somehow you're giving them 5 turnovers and they only have 22 minutes of football. Like, I just don't see how this LSU team is going to continue to win football games. You got to play Southeastern Louisiana. That's a tough one, but then after that, you have to play at Ole Miss. After that, host South Carolina. That looks fine. But then, like I said earlier, LSU at Vanderbilt. Dude, Vanderbilt looks like dogs. Like, they look really good. After that, Texas A&M. Texas A&M looks really freaking good right now. After that, Alabama. It's a rivalry. After that, Arkansas. Even Arkansas looks pretty good right now. After that, Western Kentucky. Keep an eye out, man. Why is Western Kentucky the second to last team of the year? I don't understand. And then after that, Oklahoma. I see right now 1, 2, 3, 4 games that LSU could really, really lose. Like, at Ole Miss, that one could be, LSU's ball game. That could be a really close competition. The quarterback there is kind of iffy. They're scoring a lot of points, yes, but they're not really playing anybody. Arkansas and Ole Miss could be on the same level of offense, but also the same level of poop defense. You never know. LSU could just go in there and completely shut their offense down with their overpowered defense and then score 17 points and win 17-0, like, type shit. But after that, Vanderbilt is explosive everywhere. Diego Pavia is just a ridiculous player. Won the lawsuit or whatever and comes back, just looks like a different breed of quarterback, and they torched South Carolina, like, absolutely dismantled them. Then after that, Texas A&M. Texas A&M, it is at LSU, so it's going to be difficult. But, I mean, Texas A&M just went into Notre Dame and shocked the world. Like, absolutely shocked the world. That is one of the craziest wins I've ever seen because it's like they actually did it. Texas A&M actually did it. Last year, they had the home field, and you think they're going to win that game against Notre Dame, and they lose, and they lose it by 10 points. It's like, damn, bro, maybe they're just not back yet. This year, nobody really gives Texas A&M that credit, and they actually did it. That's going to be a hard one. After that, I didn't really count Alabama because they look kind of eh. They look kind of eh. But the last game of the year at Oklahoma, the new Heisman favorite, and that team just looks really good. I mean, LSU could very well finish off 4 losses, man. If they find a way to turn up their offense, they are the best team in their conference. I was trying to make it rhyme. That's definitely why I said that. If they turn up, they're the best team in their conference because they have such a good defense and then obviously so much potential on the offensive side of the ball. They're the best team in the conference. But they have to find that offensive gear. And that's what good players do. They will find it. So we'll know if they're really number 3. That'll probably be told in the next 2 weeks because you get Southeastern Louisiana, which is a brutal matchup for them where they're really going to struggle. They get to find out where they're playing bad at, and they get to turn up, maybe get some momentum and play really good offense and just attack the parts that they were playing bad in so they could get the bugs out, play against a defense at all that isn't their own, and maybe they'll turn up from that point on. But as of right now, I've got my eye on you, LSU. You look questionable right now. And Florida, 5 interceptions. Y'all are not back. Why are we putting this team at number 15 to start the year when they went 8-4 last year? I don't care how well they finished off. They beat Ole Miss, where Ole Miss completely took themselves down in that game. And, I mean, that's all there is to it. They finished off 8-4. I don't care how much talent you return from last year. You're 8-4. If you return all of your players from last year, and then you get some crazy 4 or 5 star recruits and some good transfers, then I'm like, oh yeah, but you didn't return that much talent from last year. Nowhere near as much as a team like Clemson or ASU. It's like hard to believe that they're not that good. And you don't return that talent. You just keep a quarterback. And it's like, oh yeah, number 15, wrong. Texas A&M at Notre Dame. Can't get much better than this. Absolute cinema. I mean, I'm so happy for Texas A&M right now. I feel really bad for Notre Dame right now because I like their quarterback. And, I mean, all there is to it is Marcel Reed. That's it. Like, 17 for 37. 1 interception, 2 touchdowns. 360 yards. This dude was slinging the ball. Listen, 360 yards in 17 completions. 20 of his passes went incomplete. 19 of them went incomplete. 1 of them went to the other team. And he's still covering almost 4 football fields in 17 passes. He was slinging the rock with no problems. I mean, 20 of them went incomplete, so that's a problem. But still, yeah, Le'Veon Moss on the floor, 20 carries, 81 yards, 3 touchdowns. Mario Craver, 7 receptions, 207 yards. I mean, Texas A&M's offense looks diabolical right now. Texas A&M even had 86 yards of penalties, and they still won this football game 41-40, dude. I mean, Texas A&M is legit. They're legit right now. After all, they have a head coach. The head coach, Mike Elko, was doing wonders at Duke. He's here now. They didn't have a really bad year last year. They finished off in regular Texas A&M territory. But now they're turning up, dude. This is Texas A&M football we have not seen in years. Texas A&M, man, this was a huge win because after all, Notre Dame so far like really competed with Miami. Miami looks like they're on another level right now. Texas A&M takes out Notre Dame. Texas A&M is right there on the Notre Dame-Miami level. And that is all you can ask for as a Texas A&M fan because they are That is college football playoff implications right there. Vanderbilt at South Carolina. Dude, watch my freaking prediction video, man. Watch my freaking prediction video. I said Vanderbilt could really pull off an upset here. They look really good. They could really pull off a stunning upset here. I didn't do it though, man. I didn't freaking do it, and I would have looked like the smartest person in the world. And I think I got this score wrong. It was supposed to be no, I did. All right, I got this right. 31-7, and they just dominated. I mean, I don't understand how South Carolina, Clemson, and ASU are just not as good as they were last year. I understand ASU, Cam Scatterby, and South Carolina. Oh, LaNorris Sellers is not in. Luke Doughty. Oh, it makes much more sense now. LaNorris Sellers was 6 for 7, 94 yards at a touchdown. Then he must have gotten hurt. And the Luke Doughty guy came in 18 for 27, 148 yards and a touchdown. Or no, and an INT. Those were both INTs for both quarterbacks. I mean, still, even though LaNorris Sellers was 6 for 7 and interception, 94 yards, still, like, that's not the craziest stat line. He was just completing the ball a lot. South Carolina just turned the ball over in this game and had more yards of penalties. They had 5 more yards of offense at Vanderbilt, yet they're losing by like 4 scores. Not a good performance, but that makes a lot more sense that LaNorris Sellers was hurt. Makes a lot more sense. My fault, but Vanderbilt still looks scary. I think if Sellers was still in this game, Vanderbilt still probably would have won this football game. Duke at Tulane. Let me go ahead. Hey, I have a funny idea. Let me get the quarterback from Tulane last year, pay him all this money, and then let's lose to Tulane. Wouldn't that be funny? That's exactly what they did. Tulane, people are saying Tulane could be a group of 5 team for the group of 5 college football playoff spot. Let's not act like Duke didn't just get absolutely manhandled by Illinois, all right? Tulane wins this game because they're better than Duke, but that does not mean much. That's all there is to it. Texas State at ASU. I said ASU would win this one in an offensive performance. Oh, I think I was like, oh, they didn't end up scoring the other touchdown and go for 2 and fail. That was, what would have been nice. But ASU looked really good at times, but really bad. And I mean, let's keep in mind, this is Texas State. Now, what is important to me is Texas State has been dropping points after points. Like they 52 points in their first game, 43 in their next. I expected them to score points, and I thought our defense was going to give them a hard time. We actually held this team to very minimal points for a large portion of the game. Their last touchdown came with 5 minutes and 26 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Our offense showed up in this game. Our defense showed up. Sam Levitt has revived my hope in him. There is times where, like, he does a fake handoff and roll, and there's just 3 people in the backfield. And I almost wonder if it is because he's not supposed to be going play action there. Because I didn't really get to look at the film specifically, but the play where he, like, rolls out and, does this juke move and then backwards spin and does this crazy scramble for, like, 20 yards or 15 yards or something. It was remarkable, yes, but why are we even in that situation? Well, it looked to me like he faked the handoff and was supposed to throw the quick slant. That was semi-open, and he didn't. And he didn't throw it. He must have hesitated or something, put himself in a really bad spot. But it's also like, I almost wonder, with how many people were instantly in the backfield, if you hand the ball off there, was there a hole? Was there just a gaping hole for our running back to just look at glory? Was that something that we missed there? I would have to actually, like, pull up the footage and, like, be able to review it, but it almost looks like the play was not designed to be like this stand in the pocket, wait for your receivers on play action. It looks like it was either supposed to be a quick handoff or a quick slant pass for 5 or 6 yards, something like that. It looks like the ball was supposed to get out quick. That's all there was to it. But instead, he held on to the ball and had to make a ridiculous play, and he made the play. On the other play where, we've all seen it, where he goes I don't remember if he fakes a handoff or not, but he steps up, then he rolls left and does this weird jump pass to Tyson. Tyson's wide open, catches it, and then hurdles a person for a touchdown. Sam Levitt was just completely getting swamped back there. It almost looks like, again, I mean, that one was a little different because when I don't know if he faked the handoff or not, but Raleek Brown was still in the backfield. But it looks like, people were just flooding back there. Was Sam Levitt supposed to pump and run the ball up the middle? Something like that. Was the ball supposed to get out quickly? Were they bringing the house and the ball is just supposed to be a quick 10-yard slant or maybe a shot down the sidelines if it's man or something like that? But Jordan Tyson frees himself up across the field. Like, he literally started on the right side of the field, ended up all the way on the left side of the field, scores a touchdown. It was good. But it's like those things aren't going to fly against real teams, a.k.a. Mississippi State, where it didn't fly, and we were not moving the ball whatsoever. Even against NAU and Texas State, we've been taking sacks and stuff. So that's my big question mark. Are these quarterback decisions that are putting us in bad spots, and he's just using his athleticism like he is freakishly athletic, and he's just using that athleticism to make godlike plays, and it's working? Because that's not going to work against real defenses. Does he need to be better with the football, which is weird to say because Levitt was so good with the football last year? Or maybe did he have more trust in his running back? Transfer running back Kanye Udo. Raleek Brown has been injured the whole time. Kyson Brown was supposed to be the starter. He should be returning this week, but he got hurt for 2 weeks. His first play against Mississippi State, he got hurt. Maybe he just doesn't have the trust in his running backs to let them, punish the opposing team. I'm not too sure. I'm really not too sure. But ASU dominated. Good. We need to carry that into the Baylor game. We really do. Minnesota at Cal. I had Minnesota going 11-2 this year because of how easy their schedule was, and I had Cal going 1-11. I almost made him go 0-12. Cal proving me wrong. Cal actually looks pretty good. They're really just giving teams all they have. 24 for 38, 3 touchdowns from Jaron Carey Sagapolutele. That's his name. We'll call him Jaron. Jaron had a great game. 24 for 38, 3 touchdowns. Really just moving the ball over the air. Not really running the ball like crazy well. They had 61 yards of rushing. And for Minnesota's defense being as good as it was up until this point, yeah, they hadn't really played anybody, but their defense still looks really good. Cal dominated. And Cal could be a sneaky team because after this, they play San Diego State, which will be a free win. After that, Boston College, free win. After that, Duke. Competition. After that, North Carolina, free win. After that, West Virginia Tech, free win. After that, Virginia, competition. After that, at Louisville. After that, at Stanford, free win. After that, host SMU. Dude, Cal could literally run the table. Isn't that freaky? They could run the table because of how easy their schedule is. They literally could. They could be a college football playoff team. I don't mean to freak you out right now, but they could. And that is crazy. I think this is the last game. All right, it's last game. I was going to say, I feel like this is the last game. Very long video. I feel like I've been here for like an hour. Maybe I have. But like and subscribe, up a comment always helps. That's all from me. Adios.